don't think there's just one thing that people are thinking and not saying, but I do know that a lot of people are more preoccupied than you would expect about what others are thinking, and specifically around what others are thinking about them. How much even people who don't think of themselves as selfish or even confident, how much time they're still spending thinking about others in a way that actually isn't completely caring. It's still self-centered, it's still thinking, what do others think about me? And that's quite understandable. It doesn't make them bad people, but it's a reflection of the degree to which we are always moderating our behavior based on what we think others are going to do, or how they're going to judge us, or how they're going to treat us depending on what we do next. Because businesses are run by people. And most people, I mean, myself included, it's really hard to get all of the areas of your life at a level that you're satisfied with at the same time. So some people, particularly people who come to me, it's because they want to achieve more in what they're doing professionally, but they don't want to do it at the expense of their quality of life, their relationships, their health, and they want it to be fulfilling. So everything for me, careers at their best are an expression of who we are. So then they're indivisible to me. Your quality of life and the quality of the work you do in the world are inextricably linked. So to treat them as separate is a bit of a non-starter. And that's one of the other reasons why I really hate the term work-life balance, because it suggests that they're different things, or like a bento box where you can have things in proportion and separate them, and it's just not true. Probably how we treat the planet. That such an intelligent species hasn't yet figured out how to deal with its own waste. It seems like, you know, we haven't really followed the logic all the way through. We've got production, consumption, and we haven't really dealt with the last part of that very well. So I think the short-sightedness of living as if there is no tomorrow when there is. How resilient people are, how for all the pain it's causing people, how many people have found a way to keep going and keep positive, and how for everything there is a season, and there's nothing that happens that doesn't also bring opportunities with it if you're being observant. So when we're looking at trauma healing, I mean, firstly, the will has to be there, so you actually have to want to resolve. You have to want to be better, or want to be happier, or want to be freer in that area of your life. And not everyone does, not everyone even knows that it's possible to feel better. So sometimes there needs to be a degree of education for people to even know that they have experienced trauma or are still holding on to emotions at a subconscious level. But if you do know that that's what you want, then really two things need to happen. You need to identify what is the belief or the emotion that's been trapped or buried, probably in the subconscious, because that's where trauma lives. It's not a conceptual thing, it's an emotional thing in our subconscious. So you have to be able to identify it, and often tools like hypnotherapy are really powerful for doing that. And then you have to choose to let it go. So those two things need to happen for you to be able to identify the limiting belief or the trapped emotion, and then choose to let that emotion go or have it evolve into something that serves you better now. That's something that's changed over time, and I used to feel very driven. I feel less driven now, and I think that's actually a good thing, because a lot of my drive in the past came from fear or the quite practical need to kind of escape my circumstances or escape things that weren't good for me. So a lot of it was, you know, quite strong push factors or things where I decided I need to change things in my life, and that was driving me. So it was pain and fear that was driving me. And I think that's true of a lot of people. A lot of people who are ambitious or have goals, it's actually at the back of their mind is some kind of fear about who they'll be or how they'll be seen if they don't achieve their goal. These days, I would say I'm still very ambitious, but I don't really feel driven in the same way that I used to. I feel more inspired. I just do what I want to do, pretty much. I hope that it's technology. I hope that it is technologies that allow us to still do a lot of the things that have become very important in a globalized world, that still allow us to travel, that still allow us to have technological devices that need to be manufactured. I hope it's a technology that allows us to have a lot of the things that we've become very accustomed to, but does it in a way that is less draining of finite resources, and also that the supply chain and production chain is finally completed, that we no longer have a supply chain that can produce things but not dispose of them. That part of the supply and production chain needs to be taken care of. So I hope those are the two things that will get us there. Well, the short answer is anything you want it to mean, and I try not to get too hung up on identities because I think they generally cause more harm than good. What I notice, again through my work, is how many people are looking to their career to tell them and the world who they are. So they're looking for a job or a profession or a level of professional success that's going to tell them who they are and tell them when they can finally calm down and say, I've made it. And for me, it needs to come from the inside out. You have to know who you are first, and then find, if you want to be truly fulfilled in your career, you need to find a career or a profession or a business where you are able to actually express who you are at work, because anything else is going to be really uncomfortable, which is why there are so many people who are dissatisfied at work, because they have to hide quite significant parts of who they are in order to keep the peace at work. Well, we all have our home in common, so as long as we all live on the planet, we're all connected, and there's nothing that you can do to other people or the environment which at some point won't be connected to you or someone else that you know. So I think the fact that we all live on the same planet, that we all basically share a home, is what unites us. I'd say every time is a good time to be alive. Either it's peaceful or it's educational. So I'd say yes.